Hello, I'm Teacher Debbie. Today on this video, I just want to give you some ideas on how to organize your student information and your class information. I've been doing this almost 2 years. This works great for me, so I thought I'd just pass it along and hopefully to help somebody else out there. The first thing I want to talk about is a note sheet that I made in Excel. You can make this yourself. The first column is where I put the date. I just put it in one block, the date, and you can also put the day of the week. I always put that at the top. The next column are the times, my times for the classes. So I'm in Central Daylight Time in Texas. So I start at 5 a.m. and go to 9, 5, 5:30, 6, 6:30, and so on. In the next column, and I just handwrite. These are note sheets that I keep on a clipboard, and I just handwrite in them. I put the student's name as it's listed. I also put any names they want to be called or nicknames. You can look in the trial feedback or on my regulars. I know what they want to be called. I also put whether they're male or female because I want to know who I'm expecting and what rewards they might like. And then I also put how many times they've had me for a teacher. Because if they've had me 3 or more times, then they should have their own card as a regular, and I want to be sure I pull that. In this column where it says lesson, I just write the lesson name, the complete lesson name. And then the final column E is for notes of any kind. I usually write the name of the lesson, like learning at school. I write how old they are. Especially if they tell me an age, I write that down, or if they tell me an age that's different, I write that down. I make notes to myself on how they did in the lesson, great reader, or not so good, need to practice. I put all my notes in there so I can remember to put them in feedback later in case I don't have time to do it right away. I also put personal notes. They're an only child, or they like to play the piano, or they love to play soccer. And then I also put slide corrections or suggestions in there for the PowerPoint. Like slide number 25 in this lesson had this mistake. Even if I just write down the slide number, I can go back later and look in the materials and remind myself what I want to report as something that needs to possibly be fixed. So it kind of looks like this. And I have the date and day at the top, my class listing, their names, and it goes right across on the side. It's blank for tomorrow. All I wrote was the name of the lesson because I don't want to put any notes in there yet. The other thing that I would do is if I had a class that was, I do some classes that are 50 minutes, 50. So if that's the case, then I want to put the quotation mark to remind myself that this class takes 2 slots. And so I'll put that down also. And then as you can see in this old one, I actually will mark them off as I put them. Whatever the slide number was that had a problem, whatever I think they should work on, whether I thought they did good or great, those are all notes for me. And then I keep these sheets for tax reasons. They're just another record for me of what classes I taught what day. And I will put on there if they're a student no-show or a teacher cancellation. I make that in the notes section also in case I need to bring that up again later. Then another organizational tool I use is also Excel spreadsheet. And this one has to do with my classes by the month. And you can see this is kind of an old one. I think this is like March of 2018 or something. I always do these for every single month. I copy and paste the whole sheet to make the next month. And then these are the columns I have. So first of all, I have the number of classes because I keep track. I teach over 45. I try to teach over 45 in a month to get that extra $1 per class. So this helps me see how many classes I've taught. In the next column is the date and the day because I need both of them to keep myself straight. The next column are the classes that I have open for that day. Now you'll see that some of these don't have all my classes open. That's because some of them were open but never filled. So I will take those out and you'll see like different time periods here. The next thing I put in is the student's name as it's listed, the lesson number as it's listed, and then is it a trial? Yes. Or is it something else? Winter? Or I will put VV, voice of VIP kid, ME, just phonics is PH. So whatever it is, I usually make a little notation over here. I used to list all the interactive ones, but we're really going that way now, so I don't list those so much anymore. In the G column, that is, was it a teacher no-show? Did something happen? Was it a teacher IT? Did I oversleep? Whatever. I put that down there if it's the teacher problem. The next column is, did the student have a problem? IT, no-show, whatever. This one is a trial, and many of my trials will be no-shows, unfortunately. Or this was a regular course where it was a no-show. Why is that important? Because when I get over to the pay, I need to know if it was a regular course that no-showed, then I got the regular pay. If it was a trial that no-showed, then I got half the regular pay. Okay, and then in the next column, was it complete? That morning after I teach, I put yes on all the ones that were completed. Was it a short notice? Was it a short notice within 24 hours? Yes, or I just leave it blank. Then we go to the pay. Regular pay. This one I had to change because I'm not sure why I changed that one. Let's go down here. Okay, Leo, here we go. This one was a trial, so I had to change it to $4 because that's half of the regular pay here. The next column is, was it within 24 hours? If it was a short notice and it filled, then I would put $2 in that column. The next column is subtotal so far. I put my incentives in. You get $1 for every class you show up to teach. And then the next column is the subtotal so far. On the next one, you see it says no. That would be if they converted, then I would go ahead and put it in. Yes, got an extra $5 there. And then a total here. Let me move this up here so you can see this a little better. Okay, good. Then I go through, this kind of just keeps me on track. Then I go through each day and I will check the pay. I'll open up my information, my pay account, and I will put an X. Yes, they paid it and it was correct. If it's not paid or it's not correct, then I usually highlight that entire row and check on it later on because sometimes it takes them a day or two to get it all straight. The other thing that you will see is that I can make this small so that I can open up the internet window on this side, and for each one of the names, the student names and the lesson numbers, I can just copy off the VIPKID schedule and paste it right where I want it to be. So I can paste Frank and then I can paste his lesson number so that it's much easier to keep track of than it sounds like. I usually will do that on Mondays after we've had a lot of people scheduling on the weekend, on Sundays especially, the booking frenzy. I will do that. And then I will check it the day before. So let's say I taught on the 3rd, then when I finish teaching on the 3rd, I will check my students on the 4th, make sure that it's all still the same. And that way I can also see where people have dropped out or something's changed, and that helps me keep it straight again. The other thing I do is I have a card that I keep for every student, and I just set it aside. Oh, there we go. Hold on just a minute. I dropped them. Okay, so we'll just go with Leo here because I have a lot of Leos. So this is a card, an index card I make for every student, and this will be after, usually on their 3rd class, I'll go ahead and make this. I put their name at the top if they're male or female. If they have a preferred name, I put it there. If I know their age, I put it there. Anything else, their student number is under my fingers. Anything else I want to remember about them. They're an only child. They love to play the piano. They love cats, but they don't have one, whatever. Then I will put the date, and I will put the lesson number. And then after that, I will put what number class is it with me as their teacher. The last thing you'll see, I put down what my reward is because I try to have a lot of different rewards all the time. So when I pull Leo's card, I'm going to look at it and see what rewards he's already had and try to give him something new. I'll also make notes on it, like if this one was a teacher cancellation, or if it was a student no-show, I'll write that there also, or an IT issue or a system issue. The other thing I have, and I keep these paper clipped together with that card, I also have a piece of cardstock, has their name on it, and I put a star on it every time they come to class. And then whenever it's filled up, I will write them a note on the back from me, and I will mail it to them. I'll request their mailing address, and if they give it to me, then I will mail it to them. So that's how I keep track of this. I have a box over here, a plastic box, and I would just put the paper clip on it, and then I would just file it according to the name. And I always use the name that you'll see on the VIPKID schedule, because that's how I'm looking them up. I have the girls in the front, I have the boys in the back, and they are alphabetical. All the girls are alphabetical, all the boys are alphabetical. Why? So when I write my schedule down for the next day, I can just pull those cards, the ones that have had me before. And I do make this a little easier on myself. When I write on my sheet, I will put how many classes they've had with me. If it's 3 or more, I will circle it. So I either make them a card on their 3rd visit, or I look their card up in my little box over here. So hopefully that helps you to keep track of your students, when you taught, if you got paid for it, or if they're going to pay you for it, I should say, because you want to check that before you actually get paid. And then how I keep track of them on their own card with rewards, any little special notes I want to make, and their ID number so I can keep them straight. So I hope this helps you. You don't have to do it this way. It's just, these are just some ideas that you might want to pick and choose from. I hope I see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye for now.